G'day guys, Ace here. It is so nice for you to join me. If you haven't been here for a while, I'm Ace. I like taking photos, I like writing words, and sometimes I make videos. You can catch me on Instagram. The details are down below. And what I'd like to have a chat to you guys about today is something that brings me a lot of joy. So I want to set the scene first of all. Now, since time immemorial, humankind, whatever inclusive term you want to use, has been painting and putting things on rocks and tablets and things like that so we can see. You know, whether it's a story of creation or a story of defeating Zolg or the battle of whatever, mankind or humankind has been representing that so we can see. You know, we can see the painting on a rock or a piece of art or whatever the case is. That's all changed in the last 20 years. We don't put things on rocks anymore or stone tablets or things like that. We look at things like this. And the stories that are told are really stupid stories, like what did you have for breakfast, or pranking your husband or your wife or your kids, or funny things that you saw at the shops. Like, it's very, 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 very disposable and very, it's like eating sugar when you really need a good meal. And that's what I want to have a chat about. Not how content is consumed, but how we can better enjoy art. So just recently, in the last couple of months, I've started buying photo books. And it has changed the way I've been looking at photography and looking at art, looking at my own art or my own photos, looking at the world around me. And it has changed my world in a really, really, really positive way. And I think it's going to change your world as well. So if you're my vintage or even a little bit younger, and certainly if you're older, you would have had photo albums of your family holidays and family events and birthdays and things like that. Those things are still important. I'm not really talking about those. You would have noticed if you follow me on the gram that I have an instant photography Insta. You can see all the instant photos around. In fact, I've got a stack here that I'm yet to scan up. A gazillion of them. I need an intervention. So photos are, a tangible photo. In fact, quite often when I go out, I'll take an instant camera. I just dropped a photo. I'll take a photo and I'll give a photo. I'll see a couple or a grandparent with their grandchild, and I'll give them a photo, and that brings in immense joy. That's not. I'm not here to talk about instant photos. That's a topic for another video vlog. What I want to have it talk to you guys about is photo books, and why. Why photo books not just change the way you look at photography, but bring you joy. Well, they brought me a lot of joy. And that's not a term that we use too much these days. So it's something bringing joy. You might say, I'm happy, or this was funny, or things like that. But a joy of looking at something that's being created. It can't be understated. And the psychology it does in changing the way you look at your own photos and the world around, I think has been kind of lost. So let's talk about photo books. So what are photo books? Photo books are exactly that. Books people have made with their photos. It could be just photos they've taken, or an adventure they've done, or a collective of photos. I'm looking at notes. What things that I've enjoyed, and I'll have a look, and I'll show you some of the photo books that I've got. Some of the things that you notice with photography or with photo books that you just don't get on a screen are details. So this is one of the books I've got. I got this secondhand, and I'll talk about secondhand books later. Cape Light by Joel Meyerowitz. The detail in these photos and the grain is just so delicious. You just don't get that looking on a screen or scrolling. You might see a photo and you keep scrolling by. You think, I like that, the like button, or share it. But to see a photo, to see that. Now that's just one photo in this whole book. Brings so much joy to be able to stop and look at a photo and cognitively think about the photo. It's something that we don't do these days. And it's a shame, because I think we're missing something. I think something's gone missing when we don't do that. Let's have a look at a few more of these photos. This book was made in the 70s, or the photos were taken in the 70s, Joel Meyerowitz. This was secondhand. I got it very, 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 very inexpensively. But like, you can get lost in that photo. It's so beautiful. Where you don't get that when you're looking at a screen. There's something in our DNA, something in our evolutionary process, whatever you want to say, that just hasn't evolved to enjoy something on a screen in the same way that looking at it in a photo book does. And that's a real shame. You know, I think that's probably why art galleries were popular, you know, more popular, to be able to experience art in the flesh, you know, to see the enormity of some paintings. One of the books I've got, it's not a photo book, it's a book about paintings. It's one of my favorites artists, Mark Rothko. His books, his paint pictures they're massive, and looking at it in a book just doesn't do it justice. You know, so, you know, the same can be said, you know, comparing books to actually going to an art gallery. Look at that. Like, that's a nice picture and it's a nice representation, but that picture in real life is like 3 by 3 meters. It's massive. I don't know what that is in feet. So sometimes books can be a bit of a disappointment. But we'll bookmark that for later, that conversation for later. So the cognitive process of looking at photo books and also going to art galleries or galleries is fundamentally different to looking at a photo at a screen. And absolutely more, it's not just more enjoyable, it's joyful, but it's cognitive. It turns looking at things from a really passive thing to a really proactive process, which I think we need more of. I think we need more thinking. I think we do. I think that's really important. So let's have a look at some of the books I've got. I've got maybe half a dozen. And I just want to have a quick chat about, you know, why I've chosen these books, or, you know, why I've got these books, how they've changed me, and even if I don't like the book. And I know that's a strange thing, but that's an important thing to, I think, discuss. So the first book I ever got was this. It was William Eggleston Portraits. And I thought I would love it. And I do love it. I mean, he's a pretty okay photographer. I think he gets more credit than is due. I gotta be honest with you. I like his color portraits a bit more. I'll show you a few. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted because they're not my photos. He's a good photographer. He's more of a documentary photographer. Here we go. You know, a time and place that, you know, obviously can't be replicated. But looking at these photos, you appreciate more details, even if you don't like the photos. You find once you know, often most books have like interviews with the author, or not the author, you know, interviews with the photographer, or a blurb or a preface or something like that, and it just helps you understand their time and place and history a bit more. I could never recreate these photos because I'm not in the American South, I'm not in New York. So it gives a really good insight into that time and place. But it's funny when you start looking at someone's photos, you think through it more critically and think, not that I don't like the photos, but I love looking at the photos. It's weird because you think through, why don't I like it? Why is this photo challenging? Why is this picture challenging? So William Eggleston Portraits. It's still, I mean, it's a beautiful book. So a good one. I've already had a look at Cape Light. We're not going to look at that one again. This one that I'm going to show you, but we're not going to look into it because I haven't actually looked at it yet. Soul Lighter. The Unseen Soul Lighter by Margaret Erb. I haven't looked at this yet, but I'm so excited about looking through it. It's, I mean, a good book is tactile, and this is tactile, and like even the front cover it just draws you in so, in the most stupidly beautiful way. So I would, remind me to tell you about that when I looked at it. Good one. This next book is from a little bit from left field. I saw this guy on YouTube, and he inspired me in so many different ways. And I really, I don't agree with a lot that he says in terms of politics, but I think he's done a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job of capturing time and place. So the guy is Jamal Shabazz. This book particularly is A Time Before Crack. which is about New York in the 80s before the crack epidemic. And he draws his own conclusions, and which I appreciate reading. Looking at these photos, they're not the photos that I would take either, but they document a really interesting time in New York. This book is interesting. The pages aren't glossy. Those other ones that I was looking at, the Rothko book and the Eggleston book and Cape Light, the pages are glossy, whereas these are matte. And I personally think that's easier to look at. The light doesn't reflect off. So a lot of these photos they're like set poses. You would call it street photography, but everyone's posing for the camera, and the way they're posing, you just don't see people posing in these particular ways. Like, where would you see people pose like that? You know, this book is full of, you know, young African American men, you know, posing in those, you know, similar ways, you know, leaning on their, you know, on their bike and things like that. But it was important for me to buy this book because, first of all, I as a photographer, I love this guy Jamal. I think he inspires excellence. I think that's an understated value. If you ever listen to any interviews with him, he always strives for excellence. So I think he inspires people within his own community and things like that. And it's an important document, this book. Even though I don't like looking at these photos, like look at that photo there. You don't see people pose like that. It's a similar pose in the front cover. So I don't know if that's what like young men did in New York before crack. If that's how they posed. You know, it's like all the pictures are really similar, but it's an important document. And I love this book. Even though I don't love the photos, it's the same thoughts about this as with the William Eggleston book. I love looking at the photos, even though I don't love the photos, because it engages me on this intellectual level. Like, why did he take this photo? And what does it say in this time and place? And what does it say about the people? And the photo itself, like, is it technically how I would do it, or like all these photos are taken on film? How much more difficult that is or was. So it's a good book. Jamal Shabbir, A Time Before Crack. Good one. Even if it's a totally different life to me, to what I understand. This is one of my favorites, Ernst Haas. New York in colour. Every page takes my breath away. And if you can, you know, picture yourself in two different scenarios. You know, you've had a busy day at work, or, you know, with your family or children, or caring responsibilities, or, you know, uni, or, you know, whatever the case is. And you're sitting down on your couch or in bed, and you're flipping through, you know, doom scrolling as the term is now, and it's so unfulfilling. You know, you waste half an hour or longer just consuming crap that just does nothing apart from just give you like sugar hits of dopamine. Like, it's so vapid. Or you sit down with a book and you open the page, and every photo is, I mean, it's almost emotive looking at these photos, because like the colours. He shot a lot of these photos in Kodachrome. Each composition is a story, like each photo is a story, time and place. That will never ever, again, like the other books, never ever be created. Hopefully I'll run through the texture and the motion and the colour and the story and the composition, and you look through these and you think through, you think, and you love it. And it just, for me, it brings so much joy. I don't know, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm not saying everyone needs to, you know, love this, but the process of looking at a photo in a book is so delicious. I can't even So that's one of my favourite, and it has. I've only got 2 more to go. So if you guys have gotten here, thank you. This next one was gift. Slim Aarons is an absolutely iconic photographer. This is a beautiful, beautiful gift, and every pack, like the colours again. He seems to take like really mundane moments of the most stunningly beautiful people and makes them look like a work of art. And I look at these photos and I think, could I ever even dream that I could create something just so beautiful? And the answer is no, I can't. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he did it. It's so lovely. Every page is just filled with joy and colour and movement. He just seemed, yeah, my goodness. So Slim Aarons, if you ever get a chance to buy a Slim Aaron print or book, do it, because it really is. It's such a feast in colour and culture and beautiful. Slim Aarons. The last book, and this will wrap up my expose. Is, did we look at the Rothko book? I don't know if we did. Oh, we did. This is a collective book. This is 500 images from Getty 500 images, and so all different photographers. And this is probably, something like this is a very, very good entry point. Often these are called coffee table books, for obvious reasons, you know, sit in your coffee table. And I think sadly have been replaced with mobile phones. So this is 500 photos and all different scenarios. I'm not going to go through it because there's so many. It's relatively heavy book. So that's my collection so far, and I'll probably add some more. So where do you get photo books? Where do we find them? Where do you buy? How do you choose the right photo book for you? Which I think is a really, really, really important question. Modern photographers make their own books. You know, if you've been any time on YouTube, people like Mark Denny or Thomas Heaton, a landscape photographer, or Carl McDougall, got their own books. I'm in Australia, so like everything is like 50% more. You know, if a book is $80 in America with postage, it's like $150 here in Australia, which can be quite cost prohibitive. I often look at Marketplace for books, Facebook Marketplace or eBay. But in terms of finding books for you, there's no right or wrong answer. But challenge yourself. You know, certainly if there's a modern photographer that you like, find who their influences are, and buy the books that influence the photographer that you like, and see if you can come to the same conclusions as they did. And often those books are quite cheaper. Secondhand books obviously are much less expensive. One thing I've found, hardcover books are far superior. You pay a premium for that, but they're much more sturdy. Yeah, I'm looking at this book here, and I cannot wait to look at it. I need to find a spare evening, and I had a peek. So much joy. Start investing in photo books. They will bring you joy. They will inspire you. They will help you think what you want to shoot and what you don't want to shoot. And the best way to describe it, and I said it over and over and over again, photo books will help you think more about your photography, not just consume others' photography, or not just like others' photography, or flip through other photography, but to look at each photo on a page and think, I like this for these particular reasons. I love the grain if it was a film photo. I love the composition. I love the light. I love that. Or inversely, I don't like it. You know, I don't like this photo. This is too noisy. There's too much negative space. There's too much color. There's not enough color. It's, you know, the amount of work that goes into making a photo book is just immense. It's crazy. If you've watched the latest or one of the recent Pauline B videos on YouTube, there's an office hours with Ruben Radding and another fellow. Ruben's been shooting for like a decade, and he's about to release a book with 60 images. Like 60 images over 10 years. I mean, if you in any other job, you'd be fired. The strike rate in photography is so bad. I've said it before. I had an interview with Martin Parr. He was talking with Bruce Gilden, I think. And Martin Parr was saying there were years that he went through that he didn't even like a single photo that he took. So this can help. These photo books, I think, can help inspire. They can help challenge you. They can help you think through what you want to do. They can help think through each image individually and as a collective, and tell stories, and I mean all those, just the most delicious things. Well guys, I haven't rabbited on, but I've talked a lot. I talked probably more than I wanted. You can probably tell, but I'm smiling because the amount of joy I've gotten looking at books has just taken me as a creative person to the next level, to be able to look at this. And I think it will do that for you as well. So let me challenge you. If you like photo books, let me know in the comments. Let me know what books you've got. Or if you want to buy books, let me know in the comments, what kind of books you want. And then once you've got some books, check in back in with me and let me know. Give this video a like. Let me know in the comments again what books you like or recommend or anything like that. Go and check me out on Instagram, _aces_places. I post stuff there occasionally. But honestly, guys, check out books. You would not regret it. Now remember, guys, everything is an adventure when you have a camera in your hands.